With the recent buzz around Netflix's Terminator Zero reigniting interest in the iconic franchise, we here at TacosandGeeks.com wanted to take a spotlight on a Terminator property that we felt under the radar and it didn't get as much love and praise that it deserves. Today we wanted to talk about the game Terminator Resistance and why this is the Terminator game that you should have played and should be playing in 2024. What makes this game stand out of experience for Terminator fans and why newcomers alike should definitely pick this one up. From its faithful adaptation of the beloved series to its unique gameplay mechanics, get ready to discover why we feel Terminator Resistance deserves a spot in your gaming library and why you should be playing this in 2024. One thing about Terminator Resistance, a quick background, is that it's developed by Teon and was released in 2019. It takes place in the post-apocalyptic world after Judgment Day, and unlike other games in the franchise, this one is set firmly within the universe established by James Cameron's iconic films. It does ignore Terminator 3, Terminator Genesis, Sarah Connor Chronicles, and Terminator Dark Fate. We don't talk about Dark Fate. Hell, we don't talk about Genesis. Hell, we don't talk about 3 that much either, do we? We just talk 1 and 2 here. Anyway, so let's give you a couple of reasons why we feel this game deserves your attention. Let's first talk about the narrative and the story. The story, you play as Jacob Rivers, a soldier in the Resistance led by John Connor. The narrative is deeply connected to the lore of the Terminator films, as I said, and it offers a chance for fans to immerse themselves in the struggle against Skynet. What this game does exceptionally well is expanding the universe and giving us a closer look at the Resistance efforts and the harsh realities of their fight. Character development is the name of the game here, and I know when the game came out, I've seen a couple of reviews where people were talking about how the game takes a while for it to get going. But for me, it works very, very well when it's in terms of pacing because you actually get to spend time with the characters. You get to interact with characters, Jennifer, Patrick, Aaron, Ryan. You get to know these people, Commander Baron, and all of them have a backstory, a tragic backstory of where they were or where they were during Judgment Day or where they were when the war began, families that they've lost. You get to develop a lot of connection with all of these characters. Not to mention, it does well of illustrating the actual horrors of a world taken over by machines. While this is a first-person shooter, I will argue that it actually, just because of the tone and the intensity, that this can also be considered a horror game as well, because there really are intense moments when you're facing down a T-800 and you are out of plasma rifles and you out of cells and you're figuring out, oh my God, how am I going to survive this? And you have to either use stealth or you're going to have to use a shotgun that can temporarily knock them down, and you're running for your life. Story is a major strong point here. The cast is well developed. They all have their motivations, and the fact that you can have a choice-driven dialogue system which allows you to form these relationships, and it does impact the story. So it does give you some replay value on that. There are side quest missions in here that impact the story. If you don't complete certain side quests, your ending could be different. It could be something as make sure you go get this chip, or make sure that a doctor lives, and if they don't, that can impact the story. Now, a little bit about the gameplay. Terminator Resistance is a first-person shooter. It combines stealth and action, and it's very satisfying when you are taking down that T-800 with futuristic rifles and weapons. And it also incorporates a crafting system that allows you to scavenge for resources and build essential items that are going to be impacting you for your survival. So it does add a little bit of those RPG elements. You can level up your weapon skill, lock picking skills, hacking skills, survivor skills. So there's a whole bunch of stuff to upgrade. So it does have a little bit of the RPG elements in there. And as I said before, the atmosphere and the world building is where it really shines. The developers really captured that bleak dystopian future that the James Cameron's an opening scene in Terminator 2 really captures. You can just see by the color palettes how dark it is. And I gotta give you guys just a taste of the music here.
To start preparing the counterattack.
Sergeant, at ease.
How are you doing?
Good. Erin's going to let me leave in a couple of days. Thanks for bringing that chalk. I've been drawing a lot. I'd be so bored without it.
How do you like living in the shelter?
There's a lot of people here. I like that. I heard a funny joke yesterday. You want to hear it?
Yeah, tell me.
What's brown and sticky? A stick.
That's funny.
We're through! Sergeant, take 2 of my men and proceed up that hill. We'll stay here to keep Skynet away from you.
As you just heard from the musical score, the sound quality of the voice acting, really stellar performances all around. The actors brought their A game for this one. They really did. The sound of hearing the Terminator's endoskeletons walk, the sound of the plasma guns, it's straight out of T1 and T2. And you can't help but just praise the soundtrack as well. The soundtrack is the reason why I said I consider this a horror game, because just listening to that haunting music as you're facing a Terminator or you're in a stealth sequence where you have to get around, you just hearing this haunting theme that's just echoing through your speakers, you're gonna feel tense. You're gonna feel some type of fear, especially if you're low on plasma cells for your plasma guns to take out the T-800s. What are you gonna do? It brings such an intensity and really heightens the game. And that's what I've always said. I say it in every video game review I do. Music is just as essential as the gameplay, as the graphics, as the story, because music does something that certain things you can't really do with just gameplay alone, and that's setting the mood, setting the tone. And it's really immersive, and it pulls you more deeper into the game. It's clear that these developers had a respect for the source material, and I can't praise the sound enough. And another reason why you have to play this is because it has a lot of replay value. It has a new DLC, which is called Annihilation Line, which I am actually going to go back, and that's another reason why I did this video, because I'm going to go back and do the Annihilation Line. Branching narratives, it has multiple endings, so that encourages you to play. Like I said before, it does have dialogue options which determine your outcome. It has side quest options that will determine your outcome. Hitting collectibles, there's the lore in here with notes left by resistant force members, civilians, that you get a backstory. And not a spoiler here, but there's one story in here, one mission where you have to rescue resistance members, and there's a backstory on what the machines were doing to humans. It's brutal, and something I would love to see them really capture. Many people really do consider this Terminator 3 because it does a great job of capturing the spirit of the war between machines. Terminator Resistance is more than just a game. It's an experience. It's crafted with care and passion for the Terminator franchise. It's faithful to the lore. It has an engaging story with some memorable characters such as Jacob Rivers, who we play as our protagonist. You have Commander Baron. you have Jennifer, you have Laura, you have Patrick, you have Ryan, you have Aaron, who has a really sad backstory when it comes to her husband. It has atmospheric that really captures the war against the machines. It's satisfying gameplay. It is a first-person shooter, and yes, it's not without its quirks. It's not without its glitches, but it is still a hell of a Terminator experience. You will relive the thrill of these original films, especially when you realize what the whole purpose of this was. It is, I will call it, full circle. Spoiler alert, it could serve as a prequel too as well if you want to. If you play the ending, it can serve as a prequel. It can serve as a sequel. That's the crazy thing about the timeline with the Terminators, man. It can serve as either or because the way the narrative works. And this is a must play. It really is. So what are you waiting for, folks? Pick it up, play it. Definitely check out the DLC. If you are a Terminator fan, this is a must play for you. Go in for the characters. Yes, it might feel like a slow burn because you're not really going all full blown out to the war to like a little bit halfway in, but it is a well written story. It has some really great characters. I can't stress that enough. Jacob Rivers, definitely one of my favorites now. I love Commander Baron. And for those who want to know, not to get political or anything like that, but I do want to say this because I feel like we have a lot of games these days that have female characters, and those characters always have to say that they're a strong female character for some freaking reason, which is just horrible writing. What I love about Commander Baron and the women in this film, excuse me, see, I'm calling it a film, it's not a film. What I love about the women in this game is that they don't have to say anything. They just are. And that's how you're supposed to write our female characters. That's how you're supposed to write characters in general. It's character 101, folks. You don't tell the audience that the character is strong. You show through their actions. You show through their convictions. You show through their character. That's the whole point of character. Character. Commander Baron is the leader of the Resistance South Division. She doesn't have to say, I'm a woman, I'm this, I'm that. Everybody respects her for what she does. Jacob doesn't have to say, hey, I'm strong, I'm resilient. He just is. And that's what makes people love these type of stories. It's because it's not shoved down your throat. You just look at the characters and you just love them. And I really think that they looked at Terminator 1 and Terminator 2 and showed how, and they saw how James Cameron did Sarah Connor and went, you know what? We're going to follow that same template with Commander Baron. We're just going to make her a badass. We don't have to say, we don't have to write dialogue. We don't have to, we're just going to make her a sympathetic character who's been put in a situation where she had to step up. And she's actually one of the best characters in here. I know some people didn't like her that much. I really did enjoy her character, especially if you talk to her. And this is one thing I also want to comment. Because certain characters, I've seen a couple of reviews where people like, characters are not fleshed out enough. You have to talk to people. You really have to engage. You have to talk to them when you have those breaks from the mission and you're at the Resistance base. Spend some time with the characters. Get the dialogue options going, because that is going to truthfully be life or death for these people. Talk to them. Develop them. You're going to see why this is one of the best Terminator games out there. This is Justin from MetaculosGeeks.com. What did you think of Terminator Resistance? This was just a couple of reasons why we just wanted you guys had to play this, especially with Terminator Zero on the horizon. We wanted to showcase something that we felt that was under the radar and really needs a lot more attention for what they did for the Terminator franchise. Pick up Terminator Resistance. It is a blast. I still play it to this day, especially the enhanced version if you have a next-gen console like a PS5. I can't recommend this enough. This, for me, is my Terminator 3. It's Terminator 1, Terminator 2, and then Resistance. Gives it a nice storybook ending as well. So that's another great thing about Resistance. It gives it an ending. Nothing for constantly going on for a sequel. It doesn't need one. Definitely check this one out. This is Justin from TacosGeeks.com. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Helps out the channel a lot. If you like what we do here and want to see more videos like this, comment below. Let me know which other game that you feel is under the radar that should be getting a spotlight. or movie or TV show or anime, and I'll make it happen. I'll check it out and see if I feel the same way. Anyway, later days, peace, love, and happiness. Catch you on the next one.